Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief. I'm Raylene Marks, your host, and just a reminder that the Israel Brief is brought to you by Lay of the Land. You can check us out at www.layoftheland.online. That's www.layoftheland.online. We have awesome original content, and you can look at two new stories that have been posted within the last 2 days. The one is by Dave Kaplan, looking at an Israeli consortium's bid to buy into Clover in South Africa, the dairy producing company, which would create a lot of investment in the country and some much needed employment opportunities. And you can also check out an article by me called Roots of Peace, which looks at WITSO, the Women's International Zionist Organization's amazing olive tree project that brings together artists from various walks of life in Israel from a variety of different backgrounds. But without further ado, let's have a look at the big stories making the news in Israel. And one of the top stories today goes to the United Kingdom for the report released by the Community Security Trust, which is an organization that monitors and looks after the security and the safety of the Jewish community in the UK. And they have reported that in 2018, for the third year in a row, there has been a tremendous spike in anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic related incidents in the UK. In fact, anti-Semitic incidents were up by at least 16% in 2018. Now, they say that there were at least 1,652 reported incidents, and it could be also that victims and witnesses now feel more motivated to report them, but they also tie at least 150 to the Labour Party and some of the rhetoric and some of the goings on around the Labour Party, who has been plagued themselves with accusations of anti-Semitism over the last 3 years. So there is a coincidence that along with the rise in anti-Semitism within the Labour Party, there has also been this incredible spike in incidents in the UK. And some attribute this to the fact that it's out in the open about anti-Semitism within the Labour Party, that some anti-Semites feel that the environment is somewhat prepared for them to come out the woodwork and say what they have to say. And also an alarming amount of abuse and incidents on social media. This is a cause for great concern. Anti-Semitism is rising around the world. We've seen incidents like I've just reported in the United Kingdom, but also in the United States, other parts of Europe, and other parts of the world where it has become astronomical, and we really need to be vigilant and do something about it. You know, it always reminds me of the saying that the late Elie Wiesel, he himself a survivor of the Holocaust, who said, there comes a time where we cannot remain neutral, we have to take a side. And my hope is that those of you watching will take a side against this rising hatred. And the other big news story of the day is the fact that the United States will be blocking a comment by the United Nations about the fact that Israel has decided to end the presence of an international watchdog body in the West Bank town of Hebron. Now, Kuwait and Indonesia, no great friends to the Jewish state, they were circulating a statement saying that they are gravely concerned about the fact that Israel has decided to end the mandate of the temporary international presence in Hebron. They say that they are very concerned for the safety of the Palestinians that are in the area. Israel saying that this organization shows extreme bias and it is time for them to leave the country. And the United States has said that they will back Israel at the United Nations because of this flagrant bias that we see at this institution. And yesterday we spoke a bit about the fact that the UNHRC, the Human Rights Commission, will be attempting to pass at least 7 resolutions against Israel next month. So just on a personal note, I've been to Hebron a number of times, and I have witnessed for myself a lot of these NGOs or so-called watchdog bodies, and I have seen them trying to antagonize soldiers. It's not to say that if a soldier misbehaves that they shouldn't be dealt with, and Israel as a democracy has the security apparatus within the IDF that will investigate any incidents. But I have seen incidents where these watchdogs will step right up into the faces of soldiers, put their cameras in their faces, or stand right over their shoulders as they check the IDs of people going into holy places, myself included, and I'm an Israeli citizen, for my safety. And it's a very uncomfortable situation. So Prime Minister Netanyahu has made the decision that their mandate will no longer be continued. And while we are talking about security issues, the IDF earlier hours of this morning responded to a rocket attack that was fired from Gaza into southern Israel early hours of this morning. It set off the Tseva Adom, or the code red alert, and this is the third rocket so far this year. And Israel has threatened Hamas with a military campaign if violence along the Gaza border does not come to an end. Now, there is a ceasefire agreement in place after the November the 11th day where we saw over 500 rockets being fired from the Gaza Strip into Israel, the worst day in the history of the firing of rockets. And so far we have this ceasefire in place. This doesn't mean that there haven't been attempts by elements within the Gaza Strip to fire on our soldiers or to try and provoke them over the last couple of months. So the IDF responding by firing on Hamas targets. And just to remind people who may be watching for the first time, the IDF respond with pinpoint precision. As long with protecting the civilians inside of Israel, the IDF also ensures that as little of civilian harm as possible comes to the people of Gaza, who are often used as human shields by these terror elements like Hamas, like the Islamic Jihad. So this concludes the Israel Brief for the week. Join me again next week. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or online at Lay of the Land, and don't forget to subscribe.